The Char Hub team visited the Queenstown Lakes region of New Zealand earlier in 2024. In this short podcast, we speak with Julie Scott from Queenstown Lakes Community Housing Trust about some of their projects in the region and the people they've helped into homes. See the notes in this podcast for other episodes related to this one.
Well, we are at the amazing Te Ua Banks, which is in Jopp Street, Arrowtown. This land behind me, about 3.8 hectares, is a development project that we've got underway at the moment. So we're building 68 homes here. We've currently got these 15 under construction to start things off. The land we received from council for $1. The value of it was about 10 million. So look, it's a really great partnership with council to make this happen as well. Central government's coming in with quite a bit of funding to support a number of different programs. We've got public housing, affordable rentals, rent to buy and assisted ownership. So we've got it all going on here. Well, I guess this is a really unique opportunity here because it was council-owned land. We've also received council-owned land in the past at nil consideration. So that's still one more avenue, is to continue looking at what other parcels of land council has available. And also central government has land, but I think the big one for us, the future for us, is in inclusionary housing. So we've received close to 50 million in land or cash from developers through the inclusionary housing process over the last 20 years. And that's probably our strongest position in enabling us to assist the 1,200 households who are on our waiting list today. When I arrived in the Queenstown Lakes about 22 years ago, Arrowtown was this tiny little village and it was actually quite affordable to live in. But what has happened over those last 20 odd years is the urban growth boundary has not grown hardly in any way. It's grown marginally. And so as the cost of housing has increased in 20 odd years, it's increased by even more in this little village because there's just a less and less supply available. So this is quite unique. This parcel of land here wasn't in the urban growth boundary and included and available for residential development 5 years ago, but we've got it in with working alongside council. Council actually also gave us a piece of land much closer to the Arrowtown CBD, if you like. That was a smaller project that we did about 10 years ago, 10 homes down there. We've got them all in long-term affordable rentals and public housing. So it's a really great outcome. The people of Arrowtown, I think, after we did that first project, now understand that we're helping locals, we're helping people who are already living and working here, stay here. I think we've got the bulk of them on board now with the Housing Trust and what we're doing, and we want to build something really special and showcase it. There's a lot of money in Arrowtown, to be fair, a lot of money. The land values are absolutely through the roof, and there needs to be some form of subsidy like this in terms of council transferring land to us at no cost to make an affordable housing project like this stack up.
So tell me about some of the work that you do in the community, because you've received awards for your service to others.
Oh yeah, I believe that any community you live in, you should volunteer. Okay, if you're part of the community.
Well, I'm really glad that you got to meet Fran today, because she is a special lady and she's a really great example of the types of people that we're trying to help in the community. So here she's been in this community for years and years and years in sometimes dire housing situations, living in the garage, living in unstable housing in a campground, cold, wet, damp. So it was such a joy to be able to move it into the Toru apartments. And, the Toru apartments are a really great example of a community housing provider like ourselves, local council, central government and a private developer all working together to create a really good outcome. So there's that Toru apartment that you visited, there's 78 units there. We purchased 50 of them from the developer and we've retained 42 under a mixture of housing programs. And Fran's one of those special people that we were stoked to be able to house. There's still resource consent on the balance of the land for another 140 odd homes. So, we would really hope that at some stage central government funding of some capacity comes through and enables the rest of the homes to be built there. The reason that we purchased those 50 apartments in the first instance, because they're all 1 and 2 bed small units, was that we could look at our waiting list and we could see from our waiting list that half of the waiting list could be satisfied with a 1 or 2 bed unit. But typically we were building 3-bed, more traditional family homes. So we thought, how are we going to change this and help those people on the waiting list who don't actually need a 3 or 4 bed family home? And that's why we went with the Toru apartments. So there's a lot of people out there who are actually really happy living in an apartment in a smaller place, as long as it's well built, affordable to run, an amazing location. It's so sunny there, so close to services. You can walk to the supermarket, the high school, the primary school, anything really, the hospital, the airport, it's all right there. So it's a great location. Queenstown and Wanaka are such small towns, and there's so many connections. I think you've discovered that on your couple of days here. Fran's daughter is someone that we helped her and her family into one of our homes in Nearan Square, which is our very first development in Lake Hayes Estate in around 2010. So that development was the very first one we ever did, and we purchased the land from a private developer using funds, using cash that we received through the inclusionary housing process, and we built 27 homes there. We sold a piece of commercial land in the middle to a developer to build the commercial, because that's obviously not our wheelhouse. And yeah, it's been a really successful mixed tenure model. Our plea to the developers is to let it continue happening. Set aside 5% of any new sections that you create, set them aside, transfer them over to our trust, and we'll retain them in perpetuity. We'll build homes on them, and we'll house those key workers, retired people who don't have the financial assets to enter into a retirement village, young people, young workers, everyone who needs help, we'll be housing them.
We'd like to thank Julie Scott for taking the time to speak with us, and don't forget to share and subscribe to the Char Hub podcast.